Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on, guys? It's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Today I thought we'd have a bit of fun and go through Season 19 and try and work out which class is going to have the fastest start. Now at the time of recording we don't have a Season 19 start date. I'm worried it's going to be the 15th of November, which really doesn't leave me much time with all the guides that I want to put out. Even if it is the 22nd, which would be my second guess, that still doesn't leave a whole lot of time for starter guides, build guides, and we are going to get some new stuff with 267, particularly new even from the PTR. So I thought we'd get this out early, plus it allows for a bit of time for discussion. I know people do like to comment on these videos and get into which classes can have the fastest start. So as always guys, this is just my opinion. I play pretty much solo only, but do dive in with comments and people will read them and maybe you can help somebody else out. Before we start, I want to welcome anyone who's new to the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always guys, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated. Now I will put a timestamp to when the list begins because we've got a few things to discuss beforehand, so changes, season theme, that kind of stuff. And also if you're the kind of person who likes to read the end chapter of a book before the start, then by all means you can skip ahead to the end and I'll timestamp the final list at the end as well. So I did this video for the last two seasons and some of the feedback was that people would have preferred it if it just limited it to the starting sets. So that's what we're going to do today. We're not going to consider gearing off into other builds. This is realistically how far each individual starting set will get you, and it's not just going to be the highest GR clear. What we're interested in is how easy is it to speed farm, how easy are the items to find, how well does it pair with the season theme. So all those things are going to be considered. So just in case you don't know, the season is going to be the Pandemonium buff. Every time you kill an enemy you are going to get a slight damage increase. This will continue to stack as you make kills. The stacks drop off over time, but hitting things means that your stacks don't drop. You also get extra move speed when you make kills, so each stack is going to be extra move speed and extra damage, and it caps out at 1000 stacks, which would be double damage and 50% move speed, but you've got to get 1000 kills in a row for that, so that's probably unlikely to happen whilst leveling. In fact, my experience is you have to specifically go out of your way to kind of do that as a challenge. Now as you do gain stacks, you also gain kill streaks, and these will help you out a lot. They will do a lot of damage, so you'll get tornadoes, chickens, corpses raining from the sky, and it is fairly easy to channel together 50 kills or 100 kills, and you can get quite a big bonus. So basically leveling 1 to 70 will probably be the easiest it's ever been. You're going to get extra power, move speed and kill streaks. And obviously some of the classes will benefit more from this season theme whilst leveling, and also with these final set builds, some of them will make good use of the season theme and some will make less good use, so we're going to factor that in a little bit as well. Now in terms of 267, there were some important changes. The Wrath of the Waste set for the Barbarian, for instance, got a significant buff. The mechanics of the set have been changed so that it is now Rend that does all the damage. Now at BlizzCon they did bring some further changes, so these are post PTR but haven't gone to live, and the Lamentation belt for the Barb has had its multiplier removed, so that does look like a drop on GRs of about 7, so we're going to complete this list with the assumption that the Whirlwind Barb will be about 7 GRs behind what it would have been on PTR. Now also another important thing from 267 is that the Legacy of Dreams gem has had its drop rate buffed. So the idea is that you will now find this gem a lot sooner than you would do normally in a season. Now on PTR I found it second, so Bane of the Powerful is always number 1, that's hard coded into the game. And what they've done is they've increased the drop chance of Legacy of Dreams, so that in theory it should be the second or third gem that you find, because it must be on a much higher percentage chance than all the others. So if you did play PTR, if you could let us know in the comments whether you did get the Legacy of Dreams gem second or third, because it's going to form a pretty big part of this particular guide and discussion. So the way the gem works is you get a damage increase for every legendary item that you have equipped, provided you have no other set bonuses. You also get a 2% damage reduction per legendary item. So you have 13 slots on your character, so assuming you get all 13 legendary items, which isn't very hard to do when you get to 70, particularly very quickly, because you can craft items for missing slots. Let's say you get the gem to rank 5, that's almost a 300% damage increase and a 26% damage reduction. Now if you do get it up to rank 15, it's a 780% multiplier, which is pretty big, and if you get it up to 25, that's about 1250% damage, and you also get double values for Ancients and double damage reduction for Ancients. So you can see just how powerful this gem is, but even at a low level, rank 5, rank 10, rank 15, it's going to be a huge multiplier. Now again, also for the discussion, we're going to assume that you've got a challenge cash bag to spend. Now if you hear me talk about items and you don't really know what they are, I did do a guide yesterday on how to spend your challenge cash materials for every class, so by all means you can go and check that out as well. And one final thing, I will be doing starter guides for as many classes as I can get to. Again, that will depend on when the season starts, and where I have covered these classes already with a build for this particular set, I'll make sure the links are in the description and probably put an on-screen notification for you. Whew, that was quite a lot of stuff to get through. Right, let's get into the list. There are no bad sets anymore, and there is no bad start because of the Legacy Dreams gem, but something is going to have to come in last place, and I'm going to give it to the Monk. Now Monk has quite an easy time leveling. It's very easy to get multipliers early doors. You can get them on braces and on boots. It's a good class, it's a class I enjoy playing, but the problems start to appear when we look at the set. So the set we're going to get is the Raiment of 1,000 Storms. The two-piece, our Spirit Generators have 25% increased attack speed and 400% increased damage. This is slightly higher than a very low ranked Legacy of Dreams gem, but the problem with generators is it's very hard to get any extra multipliers on them. So you can pick up a Depth Diggers, which will give you double damage, but obviously you have to find them, and even then it's still not great compared to Legacy of Dreams. Now if you look at the 4-piece, Dashing Strike spends 75 spirit but refunds a charge. Generally early game you're struggling with resource management, so I think as a 4-piece this is particularly poor. So I would probably completely ignore this set until you get to the 6-piece and just run with the Legacy of Dreams and cobble together whatever multipliers you find. So that's all dandy, but the main problem really I have with the Raiment set is the 6-piece. Dashing Strike deals 60,000% extra damage, which sounds great, but when you're not multiplying it by anything else isn't particularly amazing. And then we get 6,000% extra damage on our Spirit Generators. Now as I say, you can pick up Depth Diggers and double this, but really you need to find the fist weapons to make this set punch particularly hard, no pun intended. Now fist weapons are an absolute pain to come by. There are 14 in the loot pool and you need 2 specific ones, so it's going to take quite a long time to get this up. Now even when you do, it's still probably not quite as good as a lot of the other builds that you can get access to with the sets. They have much easier multipliers. This pretty much is a push set. It's single target, you're only attacking one thing at a time, so it doesn't pair very well with the season theme. So it is still a really good set. It's a very strong set. It's very strong for pushing, but if you're talking about what's going to be the fastest start, I'm just going to have to give this last place. And I think realistically, even in the season, you're going to want to set Wave of Light up on Sun Wukong, and obviously that's kind of a bit of a problem. So unfortunately, Monk, great class, good build, but it's going to get 7th. Now next up, this surprised me when I wrote these down, Wizard I'm going to give 6th. Now it's not to say Wizard is bad, Wizard is a very strong class. Tal Rasha is one of my favourite sets in the entire game. I've done a starter build for Explosive Blast and that's really strong. It's only one of 3 really good options that you've got with Tals. The problem is that every class this season just has such an incredibly strong start that again, something has to come 6th. So why is it the Wizard gets 6th? Well, leveling 1 to 70 with the Wizard is probably one of the harder classes. The loot pool is just absolutely massive for Wizard, so it is very hard to pick up multipliers. Even when you look at Tals, the 2-piece, we get an extra meteor every 8 seconds. That's not worth it. I would probably dump it and go for the Legacy of Dreams. The same for the 4-piece, it is damage reduction, so we get extra resistances. I would just completely forget that until you get the 6-piece Tal Rasha bonus. Now 6 pieces of Tals will give you an 8,000% modifier, so that is pretty strong. And as I say, you've got 3 builds that you can set up. You can go for Explosive Blast, which is the Wand of Woe and the Orb of Infinite Depth. You can go for Frozen Orb, which is the Unstable Scepter and also the Triumvirate. And you can also go for Meteor. So the issue I have with Tal Meteor is that it's quite hard to gear for because the Deathwish Sword is really rare. There's 15 in the pool and there's only obviously the 1 in there. Even if you want to set up Frozen Orb or Explosive Blast, well, there's 10 in the pool, so it's a choice of 2 from 10, so 20% chance each time. So it will take a little bit of time to put this together. It's not quite as easy to gear for as other classes, and whilst the modifier is really strong, I think you probably will find that other classes are quicker. So if you do get lucky and you get yourself the meteor bits very quickly so that you correct boots, offhand and weapon, you will be flying because that is an absolutely incredibly strong build, but that's a little bit RNG based and I think the other classes just have an easier time of it. but it's still a really strong set. There's nothing wrong with towels. You will be smashing content very quickly, and it is still a very quick start. All in all, if we were to compare all the sets in the game, this would still rank fairly highly. Now next up we have the Witch Doctor. The Witch Doctor is the king of massacre bonus leveling. That will fit really well with the season theme, because as you put things under dot effect, it means your stacks with the season theme will never drop off. You can get yourself a Gazing Demise at level 1, which is really easy to get, which obviously offers you quite a lot of damage, so that's very nice. Now the Helltooth set is really strong. The 2-piece, you start dealing 3000% weapon damage every second for 10 seconds. That's huge, it's pretty big. 4-piece, you get a nice damage reduction for 60%, so that's lovely. And then the 6-piece, you get a 9000% damage increase for 15 seconds after using Wall of Death, provided you use certain skills. Now, Witch Doctor is really quick. You will get up to the 6-piece very quickly. The bonuses are very useful. The only thing I would say is that you're probably going to gear yourself into Gargantuan, and the Garg Ring is a real pain to get. Now this will offer up to 650% damage on your Garg, so it's an absolutely huge multiplier. So even if you replaced it with a convention, it's nowhere near the same amount of damage. And obviously with it being that one specific thing that you can get, I just think that it does fall a little bit behind some of the other classes if you're just looking at the Helltooth set, for instance. So again, Witch Doctor is lightning quick to 70. The set's very strong. I would use the set the whole way probably. You're just a little bit RNG dependent on finding the Garg Ring to get yourself going. Now next up we have Rathma and the Necromancer. So if you follow the channel at all, you will know I am a bit of a Necro fanboy, so maybe I'm putting this a little higher than it should be. But what I would say about Necro is it's super easy to level to 70. You get a guaranteed multiplier in your weapon slot by going for two-handed scythes. So again, check out the challenge cache guide for that. I've also done a Rathma starter guide showing that you can do GR80 in about 3-4 minutes with no intelligence paragon, provided you get the right pieces. And actually, Necro is pretty easy to gear for as well. Now if you look at the set bonuses, the 2-piece is rubbish. Reduce Army of the Dead cooldown by 1 second, that's worthless. Don't use Rathma for your 2-piece. Even the 4-piece, a 50% damage reduction, I wouldn't bother. I would completely ignore it and go for the Legacy of Dreams. I would only swap over to Rathma once you get your 6 pieces, and then you get your 4000% modifier on your mages. Now Necro is really easy to gear for, so the Legacy of Dreams is just a flat damage increase on anything. There's only 4 one-handed scythes, so they offer a multiplier. There's only 4 two-handed scythes, they offer a multiplier, and you can make loads of interesting combos. So Legacy of Dreams, 2 weapons, that will be an absolutely huge damage modifier, and all you need to worry about is finding some toughness items. Now a Circle of Nihilus Vol you can get on the level 1 Necro, so that can go in your cube very easily. So the only pain you've got is finding yourself a Crispin Sentence, but a Conventional Elements will do a fairly decent job at imitating that for a while. So I just think Necro's got some easier RNG items to find. You will have all your other multipliers set, and it is a fairly fast build to gear for. Now this is one that does benefit a lot from Crimson set, so you'll have to do some bounties to get that to increase the power of the build. But again, hopefully speaking, it should pop out quite quickly. And as I say, with Necro's loot pool being so tight, and with the build having so much power to do 80s in 3-4 minutes with no intelligence paragon, I'm going to give it 4th place. Now up next we've got 3 really big hitting builds. These are very powerful, all 3 of these, so I'd say these 3 are probably a little bit away from the others. Again, just personal opinions. If you do disagree, let me know in the comments. Now Crusader has a very easy time getting to 70. You can roll shields and get a multiplier, so that's quite dandy. One of the shields actually goes really well with the Roland's set in general. Looking at this, the 2-piece, every use of shield bash and sweep attack reduces your defensive cooldowns. I probably wouldn't bother using that initially, but it is very handy when you do get the 6-piece setup. But the 4-piece has got an insane damage modifier, 13,000% on sweep attack. You'll be able to have a denial shield in the cube very easily, so that will multiply against the 13,000. That's absolutely massive, so you'll be dealing mega damage, and the 2-piece will help you out with your defense. When you do get the 6-piece setup, you get nutty attack speed on sweep attack, and that also gives you damage reduction. Now I haven't done a guide for this yet, but it will be out in the next couple of days. You can pretty much do 80, 85 in about 5-6 minutes with under 800 paragon and very few ancient items, so it is really strong. The only thing I would say is it's not necessarily ideal for the season theme because you have to group mobs up and DPS them down, so it doesn't clear the whole screen like some of the other builds, but Crusader would be a very strong choice to start. You'll be clearing primals almost instantly, and Crusader's got access to some really strong defensive skills, so you don't have to worry too much about finding toughness items, which is nice. So I found the top two quite difficult to separate, but I've gone for Demon Hunter in second. Now, getting to 70 with the Demon Hunter isn't the fastest thing. You can upgrade daggers, but as I said in the challenge cache video, I don't really think that helps too much. Impale's not a great skill for leveling, and this also feeds into when you do actually get to 70 because you're using the Legacy of Dreams modifier to mix with other legendary powers, and if you don't have access to that many, chances are it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. Now if you look at the UE set, the 2-piece is a bit meh. You get extra hatred and discipline. Okay, it's useful, but it's no modifier, so I'd still use Legacy of Dreams. And then even then, the 4-piece, 60% extra damage and damage reduction. I'd stick with the Legacy of Dreams, you'll be outputting way more damage. Now the 6-piece is where you get mega damage, so we get 350% for every point of max discipline, so you need to make sure you get max discipline on your weapon, offhand, and also your chest piece. And you also want to get the Crimson set for this, and when you do, and when you get yourself a Yang's recurve, you will be dealing absolutely mega damage. I rolled Demon Hunter last season, and I think after about 20 hours playtime we were clearing GR 100. I've done a push guide on this, I've done speed guide, and with very low Paragon you'll be speed farming very quickly. It also goes extremely well with the season theme because it is a wipe the screen and kill everything build, so your Pandemonium stacks will stay high and you'll benefit from those considerably. The only reason I've put it in second is his Yang's recurve is an absolute pain in the butt to get. I struggled with it last season, and there are 9 two-handed bows to get, so obviously finding one can be a little difficult, but it was really close between this and the number 1 selection, and number 1 fastest start for me has gone to the Barbarian. Now I've gone for Barb because even with the Whirlwind nerf, I still think it is going to be absolutely crazy strong. On PTR we were doing GR 90 in 2.5 minutes with under 800 Paragon, so even if you scaled that back 5 or 7 GRs, it's still pretty quick, and that there has been community backlash, so it might be the case that Barb does get a little bit of extra juice. But the reason I give it a little higher than Demon Hunter is it's quicker to level because you have access to multipliers. We also can then use them when we get to 70 with the Legacy of Dreams trick. Now when you pick up the set pieces for Barb, you may decide to use this fairly early, and that will really depend on whether you find yourself an Ambo's Pride, which is a one-handed mighty weapon. So the 2-piece increases damage for Rend by 500% and its duration to 15 seconds. Now Legacy of Dreams and other multipliers will be better than this, but if you do find yourself an Ambo's Pride, you can basically condense the damage of Rend down to 1 second, so that's 15 times the damage, and it also gets applied by Whirlwind, so as soon as you hit that I would swap on to the Wrath of the Waste, and I think there's only 8 one-handed mighty weapons in the pool, of which 2 others are the Bulkathos blades, which also pair really well with Whirlwind, so it's pretty easy to gear this out. So the 4-piece gives us damage reduction and triple Rend damage, so again, a bit of a toss-up as to whether you're going for Legacy of Dreams and mixing it with like Hammer of the Ancients braces. One thing you could also find in the one-handed mighty weapon pool is a Fjord Cutter, so that Legacy of Dreams and the Seismic Slam braces would give you a nice little build until you got your 6-piece. And at 6 pieces we get a huge Whirlwind damage increase, but importantly we also get Rend damage increase, and this is how the set does its damage. So realistically I think Demon Hunter probably would be a little quicker if you've got good RNG. I just think it's much easier to get really high damage before getting the 6-piece with Barb, and also once you do get the 6-piece, the pieces that you need to find I think are pretty easy. You can use the Istvan set, you can use Echoing Fury, there's all sorts of weapons you can use. The weapons aren't really key to this, and that's why you can just chuck the 6-piece on, Ambo's Pride, and away you go. You can also get a belt that double modifies the damage, so again there's lots of easy things to pick up for Barb. So that's the list guys. As I say, it's my opinion, so by all means if you have a different opinion do put it in the comments and people will read it and we can have a discussion back and forth. I think the thing to highlight is there is no bad set anymore, and any of these sets will be absolutely fine. You can build endgame on pretty much all of them as well, which is really nice. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave me a thumbs up and I will catch you very soon. Peace.